You are saving the day. There's nobody here.
I'm always saving the day. That's why.
Good for you. All right. Can everybody hear me?
Nice and clear. I'm up. Good.
You tell her? All right. אז הרב פותח את השיחה בזה שבשון הזו בועל את הקשר בין חג השבועות לשבת. בכך שחג השבועות מגיע מיד לאחר השבת. וזה אותו הקריאס שהיה אז בשנה ההיא שהרב אמר, אז שבת פרשת בבית היה ערב חג השבועות. אצלנו זה גם אותו העניין, אבל לא אותו הקריאס, אצלנו פרשת נוסו היו...
אנגלית.
English. Can you speak Australian, please?
The parashat noso is before. In that year, when the Rebbe said the Sikha, parashat Bamidbar was Erev Chag HaShavuot. Here we have parashat noso, but it's the same basic concept. The Rebbe says that the connection, which is very clear and very prominent, is that Chag HaShavuot magia miyad le'achar Shabbat. The actual Chag of Matan Torah is immediately following Shabbat. B'yoyim Rishon. V'oid lefnei kein, השייכת בין חג השבועות לשבת מודגשת כבר בכך שמתן תורה היה בשבת. Even before we get to this actual situation where Shabbos is Erev Chag HaShavuot, he said, B'klal, there's a connection between Chag HaShavuot and Shabbos that the Gemara says that there's a big sugya in the Gemara Masechta Shabbos, and there's a difference of opinion there between Rabbi Yossi and the Chachamim on which day was Shavuot actually given. The Torah actually given. Was it on the 6th day of Sivan or on the 7th day of Sivan? And the Chachamim hold on the 6th and Rabbi Yossi holds on the 7th. However, the Gemara says that all of them agree, Kuli Ameh Moide Sheba Shabbos Nitna HaTorah. All of them hold, they all work it in different chronological order of the days, but they all hold that the actual giving of the Torah was on Shabbat. So the Rebbe said we see from that the very fact that all the opinions in the Gemara agree that Shabbat was the day of Matan Torah. As in Ken, there's already a connection between Shabbos and Matan Torah, even before what we have now, that Shabbos is immediately before Matan Torah. He said, to Kulei Alma, b'Shabbos nitnu Torah l'Yisrael. Everybody holds that it was on Shabbos that the Torah was actually given, despite the fact they differ as to what the actual day and the month. V'habiu be'inyan. What is the explanation and the teichen that we can take out from all this? He said, in Yonah shel Shabbos hu hamanucha. The simple basic factor that reaches the world and the Jewish people through the mitzvah of Shabbos is the inyan of Manucha. Rest. Yoyim Manucha. Shabbos is called the day of, the day of rest. V'kacham Matan Torah Poal Manucha ba'olam. We're going to see that developed in more detail as we go along. But the Rebbe said that the inyan of giving of the Torah also brought Manucha to the world. Because the Gemara says in Masechta Shabbos over there, and it's also brought at the beginning of Masechta Avodah Zarah, that the Gemara says that Hashem, we say in Kiddush, before we begin Kiddush on Friday night, we say Yoim HaShishi, and that's what's written in the Torah, Yoim HaShishi, and then it's written Vayichulu HaShamayim V'Hod. So what's it written Yom HaShishi with a Hey Hayadiyah? That implies that there's something special about the sixth day. So the Eibishter said that he was waiting for the day of the giving of the Torah, which was also on Shishi, B'Sivan. He was waiting for that special day. But the Hey indicates that he was waiting especially for that day, because had the Yidden not received the Torah, he would have given the world back to Tohu Vavoyu. He would have given the world back to absolute confusion. But the fact that the Yidden received the Torah, that caused a kiyum in the whole Bria, and therefore we learn from a pasuk in Tehillim, Eretz Yoro v'Shokoto. The whole world was worried, it was concerned. Yoro was in fear what's going to be, and once the Yidden received the Torah, then the world was at peace, Shokoto. So we see then that the actual receiving of the Torah on Har Sinai by the Yidden, well, that brought a rest to the world. The world was troubled. It didn't know Hashem, as it were, was ready to give everything back to confusion. And Al-Idei, the Kabbalah Torah by the Yidden, that brought rest into the world. So we see then that the actual reception of the Torah brings peace and rest into the world. So therefore he says, Matan Torah pa'al manucha ba'elam, ha'olam l'shaka atzmai, the world in its own right, nivra ba'oven shel shinui v'tnua. The way the world is created, just purely without Yidden, or without Matan Torah, then it's always changing and altering, and it's always moving. There's always something moving and going. To use the expression in English, there's always something going on. And it's really quite amazing if you study carefully what happens even in the passage of one day, in the Bria, things like the sea and the atmosphere. And if you observe things, particularly from a high point, and you observe mountains and valleys, that you see during the day big changes in the colors and in the way things react to the sun and the whole business. So the same in the sea. The sea life alters every few hours, or even less, due to the movements of the waves and how they call it, the undercurrents, and the effect of the sun and the moon on all of these inyanim. So the world is always in a state of moving, and things are always altering and changing. So the Rebbe said that two things make up a world. Even the Olam HaSelyonim, the higher worlds, are determined by two main things. And if you're beyond these two main things, then you have no connection with the world. One of them is time, and the other is place. If you're beyond time and place, then you have no connection with worlds. Worlds, even Olam HaTzilas, according to Chassidus, has a certain trait of time and also a certain inyan of place. So therefore the Rebbe said these two inyanim, time and place, are always in a state of alteration and movement. He said, Hein mitzad klal hazman. If we take the general concept of time, he said, then shinui hayomim, days are always altering, and how they say, day in and day out. One day comes and the next day is already, the previous day is gone, and then it's a new day. So he says, the general way we determine the passage of time is past, present, and future, without going into all the details that are implied, but that's the way we measure. So past, present, and future are different stages, one than the other. And that indicates movement and change. He said, "V'chein mitzad shinui haprotim shel kol nivra yeshoiva ta'puche shoyne." He said, not only just in time, but every detailed nivra or creature in the world undergoes all sorts of different alterations in its life. Even the small creatures and the reptiles, and they get into all sorts of situations, and things alter, and especially in the life of bigger and more significant creations, you see the alteration, how much more so in the life of a man. He said, "V'chein mitzad chiluchi adargas shel hamokim." Up till now we've been talking, let's say, about time in a general way. He said the same is in regards to place. There's always change in place. He said that time and place kishurim im shinui. And the way you live is there's always something happening. Somebody moves out or somebody builds. There's an alteration. Some comes up with a tractor and moves a hill or something. There's always something happening. So the Rebbe said that's the union of shinui, and shinui is heipach hamenucha. If you're in a constant changing, all the time altering state, then you're not at rest. So he said, "V'tiltul, b'gdei lahagia memokim echad lemishnehu." And also the Gemara uses the expression of a man moving around from one place to the other, and the Gemara calls it tiltuli gavra. The movement of a man from one place to the other is very tiring and affects him very much. You notice when you travel, if you travel even a bus journey, how much more so internationally and so on, you become mavubal and weary and altered very severely in yourself. And that's called tiltul. Tiltul means shuttling and moving from one place to the other, and that's all in order to move from one place to another. Me'acha u'shabbat.
What's the Mishnehu?
Mishnehu.
What's that?
Mishnehu means the other one.
The other one.
The other one. Yeah. So he says, Me'achu v'Shabbos is taima habriyah. Since we see on the day of Shabbos, that's written by Yichulu Hashamayim v'Horez, that the heavens and the earth were completed on Shabbos. He said, Harei sha'oz nirusha v'chol habriyah kula. He said that then it was felt in the whole Bria entirety, al kol hachiluchim shabo, given all the different interdivisions that there are in the creation, kavonas HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'Bria. So the Rebbe says a very profound inyan of what leads to all the things that Shabbos brings. I mean, the main inyan we're going to deal with is the concept of Menucha. But Shabbos brings a deeper realization of a person's life. He's able to devote himself to what he feels to be his real purpose in life, and he's much more aware on Shabbos of what you might call the importance of his aims and his existence. So the Rebbe said, what's, as it were, the central point? He said, when you come into Shabbos, then you come to realize what is the Kavanah Sabriya. And the Kavanah Sabriya is that we should all come to know HaKadosh Baruch Hu and appreciate it. So when you come into Shabbos, and you have the ability to use your time in a different way than what you do in the weekdays, and you're more at rest, and you're more able to look at what is really the ultimate tachlis, then you appreciate the fact that you can come to know Hashem, and what is His whole kavanah in the whole Bria, that we should know Him through the medium of Torah and Tefillah. And therefore, a large part of the Shabbos goes on both of them, both on learning and on davening. Shahaya kavanah achas v'yechida shel kol haprotim kulam. In the creation, Hashem made a tremendous multitude of protim, but there was one kavanah, one purpose, only one and only. Achas v'yechida is the way of saying in Hebrew, one and only. There was one and only kavanah in all those details, that if we should come to know that Hashem is one, and He created the whole Bria, and it's all batel, as He said, in Him and to Him. And therefore, that's the purpose of Shabbat. So the Rebbe said, כאשר מתברר שכל הפרטים והחילוקים הם חלק ממטרה אחת. All the details and all of the how do you call them? All the interrelated pratim that there are in the Bria, they were all made for one aim. They all joined together, to add up to one aim. He said, Harei Hadova maybe manucha b'kol Bria. He said, when you know that you have what is the real aim of everything, and you have time to devote yourself to the real aim, to understand that everything is from Hashem, and everything is included in Him, and bottled to Him, and we are supposed to know that. And that's the kavanah of why Hashem created, and why He wanted that we don't know, but that happens to be the case. So he said, that kavanah and that knowledge, that you have one and only aim, which is to know Hashem, well, that's what brings manucha to the whole Bria. In other words, a very profound point that the Rebbe is making here, that when you know what you're really supposed to be doing, and you do it, then you feel peace, you feel manucha. What causes us to be all the time anxious and moving and impatient, and that we're not really on the right line. We're not really doing what we should be doing. And even if we are, we don't do it with the right basic attitude of knowing that Hashem runs the world and He created us in order to know Him. And therefore there's a Mishnah at the end of Masechta Kiddusha, where the Mishnah says, Ani lo nivresi, or according to one girsa, Ani nivresi l'shamish eskeni. Or another way of saying it is, Ani lo nivresi elo l'shamish eskeni. I came only into the world. I was only created in order to serve my master, who is Hashem. Shabbos, you come to that realization. And so therefore, since you devote yourself to that one and only aim of knowing your Creator and serving Him, well, that brings manucha. In other words, when you're doing a central right thing, then you're restful. And the Rebbe is going to build on that point now. And he said, "Ukapi sharoyim b'feirush." Yet we see openly, sheshabbos kashura im manucha b'shnei atchumim zman umakim. Like we see that Shabbos is bound up and connected with manucha in both of these areas, both in time and in place. He said, "B'nagir lazman yadur sheshabbos hu aliyah l'mayla mi'azman." It's well known that according to Chassidus, Shabbos is really higher than time. I'm not going to use the expression that Shabbos is beyond time, but Shabbos is higher than time. That's to say, if you really want on Shabbos, even though you daven at a certain time and the clock goes round, if you don't come right, then you're late for davening, etc. on Shabbos. But nonetheless, your whole basic status and your whole way you relate to your life and to the purpose of your life, you're not so governed by Zman. You're not under the shlita that you're running for the next minute and you're going to do this, you're going to... And that's why Chassidim always used to be against people who say, "Oh, I got to get home, I can't sit here, I can't do this, I can't do that." It's Shabbos, take it easy. As Amira, the Rebbe said that when we come to Shabbos, we go up higher than time. And now he brings a very clear proof of that. Shelochein, but Chilas HaShavua Haba, Maschilim Limnois, Shuv Yom Rishon V'Yom Sheni, V'chein Hala. I mean, how many days have there been since the beginning of the creation? Probably millions of them, right? So if we're counting the days, then we should count on Sunday. Today is the second millionth day of creation. And what do we do on Sunday? We say, Hayom Yom Rishon B'Shabbat. Today is the first, as it were, day of the week, which implies that it's a whole new count, a whole new count. What are you doing? Starting all over again. You only start all over again if you moved out of that whole area and you lost, as it were, the count. So since on Shabbos you move up beyond time, you lose the time, as it were, you start all over again on Shabbat, on Sunday. And so that's the Inyan that we count on Sunday from Yom Rishon. Maschilin no Yishoy, Yom Rishon v'Yom Sheni v'chein ha'la. Kivan she'ein heim havim emshek l'shavua ha'koidem. They are not existing as a continuation of the previous week. Me'achav Shabbos ilamayla mebchinas hazman. Since on Shabbos you go beyond time, the days of the previous week are not connected with the days of the next week. It's a whole new beginning of time. So that's a sign that on Shabbos you went up beyond time. So he said, V'chein b'mokim. We see that on Shabbos there's a Isur hayitzia chutz l'tchum. You're not allowed to go out beyond a certain area. And the tchum is alpayim amma, depends on certain circumstances. If you're in a city or a field, or how do we calculate that? And if you're way out in the middle of a field, it can be limited even to your daladamas, etc., depending. And like it's written in Parashat B'Shalach, Al Yete Odam Mim Koimoi B'Yom HaShabbat. A person shouldn't go out of his place. So it depends how we calculate what is his plate. But you're limited to your plate on Shabbat. So there is it, Isa Yitzia Chutz L'Tchum. Mashu Mutar Odam Leches B'Toich HaTchum. And it's permitted inside the Tchum to walk around. Mishum Shekol Zeh Niklo B'Mekoimai. As long as you're within the Tchum, that's called your plate. It's a sign that you're, as it were, your place is a little bit bigger than what you might have expected, but it's only up to a certain point, and you're not allowed to go beyond that. Since you're unable to move from a certain area, then there's no inyan of what we called before tiltul, meaning you're moving from one place to the other, or which is the nigud, which is the opposite and the opposition to peace and rest. So therefore we see that on Shabbos we rest from time and we rest from place. And we pointed out that time and place are the two main determining factors of a created world. Shabbos elevates us beyond them altogether. And we saw that there's a spiritual purpose in that once you go beyond those two determining factors in normal life, then you're able to appreciate why you're really created and you know what you're really doing. So he says, Kaloima, Hamanucha Nasis Kasher Mizgaleh Beprote Habriya Kavona Sabrin. Now that I was going back to that point and summing it up. Why is Man Mokim completely batel on Shabbos? So that we should have the opportunity to know what we're really here for, and what is really the Kavona Sabriya, the purpose of the creation, like we said before, to know Hashem and to be dovuk in Him. So he says, the fact that you come to know what you're really doing here, what is the purpose of your creation, that occurs on Shabbos. Why? Because Shabbos is such a day that elevates you beyond the normal determining and bilbil making factors of what a world is all about. He said, he said, on Shabbos it's there, every Shabbos, but he said it reached a more supreme perfection at Matan Torah, when the Eibishter saw that the world was waiting for Matan Torah, and he stopped it as it were going back to confusion by giving the Torah unto the world. So the Rebbe said, Kavsheh his Malaya Hatachlis Shalishmo Nivraho Hilom Matan Torah. So he said, what was the ultimate purpose that the world was created? Rashi brings it at the beginning of Bereshit, that base Rashis B'shvil Yisrael Shenikro Rashis, or B'shvil HaTorah Shenikro Rashis. That the whole creation of the world was only for the sake of Torah, and Torah has to have somebody who learns it. So the Eibishter created a special messenger group that they're going to learn his Torah. So Kunta said the world has two purposes, and on Shabbos, a Yid has got the ability to appreciate that, but how does he do that? Through the infant Torah. So that indicates that Torah is like the main giving of power, of rest in the whole world. ואז העניר בגילוי ומרגשת בכל פרטי העולם עושה תכלס. And he said then, when you learn Torah and after Torah was given, it becomes obvious in the whole world what is the ultimate purpose and the tachlis of the world. He said, "V'zeh matzav shel manucha." In other words, we can put it in a slightly different way. Or we could say that Shabbos is one day every period, every 7 days you've got Shabbos. And that brings us to a state of manucha, and that manucha allows us to find our real purpose, and that adds and perfects our manucha. Now we said Torah was given into the world in such a way that even in the weekdays and even when you're not in the rest of Shabbos, you can come to manucha. In other words, if you're devoted to Torah and you're involved in Torah, then you're in a state of manucha. You're not movable from the inyanim of the world. And therefore the Gemara brings, the Zohar Kodesh brings, not far from the beginning of the Zohar, the Talmidei Chachamim are called Shabbat. The name of a Talmud Chacham is Shabbat. Why would he be called Shabbos? He doesn't keep Shabbos the whole week. No, his etzem being is Shabbos. But since Talmud Chacham is somebody that his whole life is Torah, and Torah is the emes of Manucha, because Torah shows us what is the emes, the purpose of the world, and that expresses itself on the day of Shabbos, but Torah does that the whole time. So somebody is in Torah the whole time, he's like Shabbos the whole time. And therefore the Zohar Kodesh says that a Talmud Chacham is called Shabbat. So therefore says the Rebbe, it follows on that Torah brought Manucha into all the details of the creation in a very, very special and ultimate way. And that's the emes concept of rest and Manucha. He said, "V'hadvorim nikorim gam b'parshas hadvorim." He said, and these inyanim are recognizable also in simple terms. If you look at people or at life in a simple way, then he said, "B'teva b'nei adam." If we take this the way people are in their makeup, shekasher hu eino margish es hakavona v'ataklis b'chayo, azai u'b'matzav shel choseh sheket u'manucha. Somebody who doesn't really know what he's here for, and he doesn't really know what's the purpose of life. They go around saying, we want to find out what is the purpose of life. So people like that are always in a state of lack of quiet and peace. They're always, looking here and looking there, chasing this taiva, chasing this idea, running here, running there. They may not run physically, but they're all over the place, to use the expression. And he said, that's a inyam from choiser. It's a lack in the concept of shechet and manucha. He said, "V'davke kasher hu chosh es hatachlis v'hamatorah azay yesh lo manuchas hanefesh u'manuchas haguf." He said, when a person feels that he's doing what he really meant to be doing, and he's doing what he was created really to be doing, then he feels different. Then he feels at rest with people around him, and he feels at rest spiritually and even bodily. And as well known, nowadays they've established medically that when a person is more restful and at home with himself in spiritual terms, what he's doing in life, then his body reacts differently to the situation. And he's got a hope to be a more healthy and well-balanced person physically as well. So therefore the Rebbe said that brings both manuchas hanefesh and manuchas haguf. Manucha shaloi mashpia umavia manucha gam lekol olam kuloi. So he said, as the old saying have it in English, an unhappy person makes other people unhappy. Of a happy person, they call a person that feels at rest with himself, he's got a good ashpah, wherever he goes, he's like a source of light and attraction to people. So the fact that a person reaches that manucha, knowing that he's doing the right thing, and he's on the right track, to use the expression, and he's learning Torah, and that's the whole purpose. And that will bring him to everything that he needs, and it will bring him to the ultimate creation of Devekas and knowledge in Hashem. Well, then he brings manucha to all the world around him. First of all, his own family, and then people around him, and so on. He's in Yiddish they say a ruhig mensch. And he called a balanced person and a restful person. So the Rebbe said, "V'tachlis hi shemepina zu shemanucha tushpa hamanucha gam lo isam haprotim leisam protim shel zman umokim akruchim b'shenoyim." So the Rebbe said the ultimate aim of you having reached your manucha through Torah and through Shabbat, but Torah being the ikar, he said the ultimate purpose of that is that you having reached your emes of purpose, and thus your manucha, that should affect all those details in the creation which are connected. Kruchi means that they are involved or connected with shinui. In other words, there's so many things that are all the time changing and altering, and everything's had occurred from one moment to the next. They say you can never know what's going on. So he said, if you reach your tachlis, you have a restful making influence on the whole world. And Dr. when you reach the emes of tachlis, then you bring good messages and rest to all the areas where there seems to be a lot of confusion. And I don't want to get involved in things which are not our purpose to discuss here. But we see that the reason why the public is because, ultimately speaking, the leadership is not going anywhere. It doesn't itself know what it's after. And every day is a new idea, a new shinoi, and all sorts of things are done in a way that they don't really make any sense. I mean, they're not even according to simple common sense. But why would that be? Because it's not the right line. I'm sorry, that's not what Hashem wanted. You understand? That's not what Hashem wanted. This is not the right line. This idea. It's like, I once had a Talmud, you mentioned Joe Shandling before. I once said, Joe Shandling said it's like a man standing in a pit. So he feels okay when he first falls into the pit, but then all of a sudden he sees a little hole and water's coming through a little hole in the pit. So what does he do? He runs over and puts his finger like that, and he stands and he's restful from home because he's stopping the water coming in. All of a sudden he sees on the other side, he sees water coming into a hole. So what does he do? He pushes like that with his two fingers. Then all of a sudden he sees the third plate. He says, so what's he going to do? So he starts running around. He puts a finger on, he puts a finger. And here he puts a finger. And he's just running around, chasing around after the holes. It's a rather harsh marshal, but it's a very true one. And that's what we face today. They are running around filling up holes with their fingers. And you can't do that to the Jewish people. You follow? You can't do it. And that's what the Rebbe said, we've got to bring everything back to the ultimate purpose, which is the Torah. And once you do that, then you have peace in the whole world. And then Shabbos is different, because you know what was the whole Shabbos given for? In order to deepen. And that is when a person realizes that. So you say that to the guy on the street, and he'll say to you, oh, but that means I give away my anini vreshel shamish eskoini. So the answer is by giving yourself away to Hashem, then you find yourself with all the details as well. And the peace, and the rest, has an effect on the whole world around. So that's what he says, that the ultimate tachlis is that from your manucha, you also should be affected all the details which have to do with shinoim. כשם שמשבס מזבוחים כל ימי השבוע. He said the proof of that is that we see that Shabbos blesses all the days of the week. Hayom Yom Rishon B'Sham Yom Sheni. We're always either just going out of Shabbos or we're looking forward to the next Shabbos. That everything is governed by Shabbos. It affects all the days of the week, and that gives peace and rest into all the days of the week. Kasher asukim b'inyonei olam, inyonei tenua v'shinui. He said, when the world you're busy with inyonim of shinui, but you bring the message of Shabbos and Torah into that situation, then they also get another rest. And like you see, a person that's famous, a Talmud Chacham, and we said the Zohar calls him Shabbos because he's a ruhig man. He doesn't get all confused. On the contrary, he brings peace and rest into what would normally be confusion. And that's what we say every day in davening. Right near the end, we say Talmidei Chachomim Ma Bim Sholim Ba'Ilam. The Talmidei Chachomim bring peace. So what is peace? Peace is rest, and manucha into the world. He said, Kloima, B'Avedas Hashem Yeshnam Kama Shlavim B'Dargas. In Avedas Hashem, there are also different steps up the ladder, Shlavim, B'Dargas, and they got levels of elevation. He said, Achadarga HaNailis B'Yezahu. He said the highest of all the levels one can reach in Avodah Hashem is kasher nirgeshes b'kol inyonei avodah anakuda achas. He said that when do you find the full realization of your Avodah Hashem and the sensing that you're really on the highest and best level? He said, when all of what you do and everything you do to serve Hashem is all affected by one special nakuda. One has a word, klolos tikeh point, which is beyond all the different ways that there are of serving Hashem. Through mitzvahs and through Torah and all sorts of different things, but there's one inner atzmistic point which guards all of them, and what is that? When you know that, when you know your whole purpose is only that, then you reach your fullest madrega in your Vedas Hashem, whatever you're doing, because you reach the proper ultimate balance. What are you doing? Serving Hashem only for Him. Only to serve Him. Well, that one general nakuda affects all your learning, affects all your mitzvahs, affects everything, and that brings you to ultimate rest and peace. He said, he said, for example, speaking generally, one can see this idea in the keeping of mitzvahs. Mitzvah echad taryag mitzvahs. From one side, we see we have 613 mitzvahs. And they are pratim shoinim. They're all sorts of different and very, very separate details. He said, Atzad HaShova Shebekulam, HaKavona Klolis Shal Kol HaMitzvahs. He said, we see that there's an equal aspect, and it's the united kavona, generality of all kavonas in all the mitzvahs. Asher Kiddushanu b'mitzvayso v'tzivonu. No matter what mitzvah you do, the bracha opens with the same thing. Baruch atah Hashem asher kiddushanu b'mitzvayso v'tzivonu. That the whole basic Indian of a mitzvah is Kabbalah Soya. How do we call it? Devotion only to the will of He having commanded us. Are you devoted to that? Then you can move into the detail. Then you can say, I'm connected with the general, ultimate point, and that brings me to this and this detail. I do lahaniach tefillin or lisati betzitzis v'chulu. But the general point in all of them is that I'm carrying out His will. Yahauda shahen kulan tzivei Hashem. When you do a mitzvah, there's one united nakuda, klolius, Ani lo nivreze ela l'shamesh eskoindi. That's the basis of all the mitzvahs. Asher kiddushono v'mitzvahs v'tzivonu. Your whole interest when you do a mitzvah is you're doing the rotzen of Hashem. You're doing the will and you're committing it. There are details in that, but what causes the general restfulness is that you know you're doing Hashem will. And therefore the Rebbe brings at the end of Pirkei Avos, we see Yehuda ben Tamar says, Havi oz kanema ve'ratz katzvi ve'kal kanesher ve'giva kari lases retzoin aviva shebashamayim. That's the way Pirkei Avos more or less completes itself, because the rest of it is only prices. That's the way it completes. Yehuda ben Tamar says that famous statement. So the Rebbe says, why does he say, "Lasis retzain avicha"? You should devote yourself to doing Hashem's will. You should say to do the mitzvahs of my father. No, he said mitzvahs is already something that can be divided into detail. But rotzen is the general purpose and the general uniting union that there is in all the mitzvahs. They're all rotzen Hashem. Your ultimate purpose is to be devoted to rotzen Hashem. If you're devoted, your whole being is always to find what does Hashem really want, what is the ultimate purpose, then you're at rest. That brings you to menucha. You might be very active, but you are in menucha, because you're looking for the emissary, ultimate Nakuda Claudius of the whole thing, which is the will of our Father. Yeah. So listen, I'm beginning to run out a bit of my throat power here, but what I want to point out is that the Rebbe develops this whole point now in all sorts of different Eifanim, but we've reached the general inyan that manucha and peace in life come from being devoted to the emissary inner purpose of everything we were created for. And that expresses itself in certain general ultimate nakudas. What Yehuda ben Tamar put it by saying you have to run and you have to have all the details, but the main point is Las is Retzain Avicha Shabashamayim. But we were talking about Rav Abba before. Rav Abba used to say, Midav Vision, wo ist the interest von dem Eibishter? We have to know what is the interest of Hashem, what is His will, what does He really want us to do. In other words, that I might look at a certain situation and I might say, look, I would like to do this and that. And you can even find a sif in Shulchan Aruch that could back you up that you're not doing a terrible thing if you do that. But it could be that that's not ultimately what Hashem would really want you to do. How are you going to know that? That you have to have a Rebbe and a Mashpia. You have to have a Rebbe, what he indicates, generally speaking, the line, and then a Mashpia helps you to find the right, because sometimes, you think you're going for a very big thing, but that's not really what Hashem wants. You look for the ultimate purpose. And if you look for that ultimate purpose, and then so that's the Indian of peace. So the Rebbe says towards the end of the Sikha that when Moshiach will come, he's going to bring another peace into the world. And that's what the Rambam writes at the end of his great work, that Kulam lo yeh Esek, kol oelam kulei el ladas es Hashem bilbad. Only to know Hashem, like we began with Shabbos. And therefore Mashiach is called Shabbos u'manucha l'chaya elamim. The Mishnah Masechta Tomid calls Shabbos u'manucha l'chaya elamim. In other words, that Mashiach is going to bring manucha l'chaya elamim. Why? Because we're all going to know what is the ultimate purpose. Ladas is Hashem. And that's going to bring the peace and the manucha. Take him miyad mamish. Now, b'zmanenu seh, b'yomim elu, take him miyad with Matan Torah. We're going to be able to hear Torah's Melech HaMashiach, and we'll all be together, Be'ez Hashem in Yerushalayim. That's basically what we managed to say. Pretty powerful stuff, eh? You're a restful person if you know what you're doing is the ultimate, what you're really supposed to be doing. Then there's a reference.
When Mashiach comes, it'll be one Shabbat.
Right. So that's the whole time. So that will only, that's what the Rambam writes. So that time only to know him.
There, taste now.
Oh, yeah. Take him as now. We're beginning now with Shabbat. We're going to run into Mountain Terror straight from Shabbat.
So Yaakov was in Bnei Brak today, and he called me and he told me.
Didn't come.
He said he's trying to get back, so maybe he'll walk in, and maybe he'll come any minute. But he was in Bnei Brak. He was going to try.
He's not coming.
Don't know. Doesn't look like it now,
But we can say L'chaim.
Yeah.
And
I have a birthday.
Gimel Sivan.
Gimel Sivan.
Yeah, the Yom Haledes
And also,
today. Yeah, the Yom Haledes today.
Yuda son, David also.
Yeah, Yom Haledes.
Amen.
ייכנס לעולם של משיח. חיים ניתן. The Rebbe said Chaim Nitzchiyah. The Rebbe said.
I went to watch.
The Rebbe said Chaim
to
Nitzchiyah.
Leron is Chaim Nitzchiyah.
Da
One more niggin, he's one niggin away.
Who's it?
Yaakov Chersky's one niggin away.
He's on his way.
One niggin away.
One day for the way.
One niggin away.
One drink for the way.
It's good. It's good. Baruch.
He's one niggin away.
How long is it?
Who's away? One again.
Yaakov Chersky's one niggin away.
He's coming?
Yes.
He's coming?
One more niggin. Yes, it's coming.
He's coming?
It's coming.
A niggin can be 5 minutes, 2 minutes, an hour. A niggin
No.
Say it good.
Do a medium size.
Baruch אתה אדוני
חיים.
חיים, אנחנו שמח להגיד לחיים, לאחל שנה
So as it's also a question, we're holding by Erev Manucha, and Erev Manucha HaKlal is a mountain terror. We have to find out what's in the Kuda Atmias, what should be in. So when you hear what happened yesterday and what's going on in this crazy world, ask yourself the Shaila, who is the Eibishter waiting for? Who is he waiting for? To give themselves a nature. Is he then waiting for all these Mishagoyim? Is he waiting for, I don't want to say name, I don't want to mention anybody, but everybody knows who I'm referring to. The so-called Tzara B'tochen, that's what the Eibus is waiting for. He's not waiting for them. He's waiting for the Erechim from the Yidden Shomer Torah Mitzvah. He's waiting for them. What does he want from us? What's he waiting for? It's written in Yitzis Mitzrayim, Ki mei tzeischol, me'eretz Mitzrayim, arenu neflois. The Giloi to the Yossi is totally finding out what happened by Yitzis Mitzrayim. It's written that the Yidden were involved in the hard work and in the terrible tzoros of the Golas by Yizaku. They shut it out. Yeah, they shut it out. The Mittler Rebbe says that before Mashiach comes, there's also going to have to be a shout. You're not going to just shout. So what are they going to shout? Yeah, give us another few million. Shkulam? Nizda. He's waiting that they should shout, why don't you bring us Mashiach? We want Mashiach now. וזה מתחלק לשני פנים. Aleph is the negative, and he called ad matai. How long can this go on for? But we have to shadow with the emes kavona pnimis v'atzmi, like the Rebbe said it. What is the tachlis? The Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, is Mekale, that apart from the Shamash Koini, there's another Indian to bring Koini, that he should bring us the Gula Shlema. And how are we going to do that? Vayizaku, we have to shout, we have to lift up our voices, and we have to say Ad Mosai. But in addition to that, we have to say Yechia Melech HaMashiach. The Rebbe said in Beis Nisan, Tovshim Memches, that it's come the time where all of you have to say Yechia Melech. And the Alidei say, the Moishe Koyach in the Melech, that gives the Melech. When he hears the Achroza, Yechia Melech, that gives the Melech Koyach. Then how to call it, Uiz, to bring down all the Inyanim, what he wants to bring down for the sake of the whole public. What he really wants to do for everybody. When he hears people want him and demand him, then the king gives. And that's in the Kuda, we got to cry out to the king. Yeah, like the Rebbe said on many occasions, Gino, I speak. Gino. So there says, Gino. It's who said? So we have to say, we say, yeah, At Matai, V'Yechia Melech HaMashiach. Has to be a V'Yizoko, and Tavkidei Elech Yidin. Tavkidei Elech Yidin. And remember, we shouldn't look at the computer to find out what the latest news and what Pliny says, and Almighty says, and there's a Yanazot, and this is a hin, and this is a here, and this. Forget it. Hey, Ad Matai, V'Yechia Melech HaMashiach. Negative and positive. How's electric fields working, negative and positive? You got to have a negative and a positive. That's the two inyanim. The Eibus is waiting for the Elech Yidden. He's waiting for the Elech Yidden to wake up to themselves. And you can't just say, Aniyas Nafshi Yitzalti. You can't do it. I'm okay, I'm living my life and I'm doing. That's, the Rebbe doesn't hold on that anymore. That might have been good who knows, X moment in somewhere in history. But it's not good for most times, for our time for sure not. We have to know, we have to be mashpia on other people also. Whoever you meet, open up your mouth. Have something to say about the Guru and about Mashiach. And people react. I know I'm always telling stories about taxi, but I was driven by a taxi that could drive today with a kippah on his head, you know. And as we were approaching where I wanted to go, I said to him, Roim Sharabi Tzodek. So he said, looks at me and he said, Pamed? So I said, the Rebbe said, Rak Moshiach. Tishkat Mikol Shari Advarim. It's all Hevel V'Ros Ruh. Yeah, and that's what I said to him. And he said, and he said to me, he said, Zeh Mashal Rebbe Rebbe Amman? The truth is that he's right. And that's what people will react. Doesn't matter who it is. If you say the right thing in the Rebbe's name, people will react positively. Upon him, they'll go home and think about it. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to create a situation where we will think about it, because the Avis is waiting. I remember once for bringing my mashpia, he sort of said to mom, he said, quiet everybody. He said, Makta Cheshbon. He said, make a calculation. Who is the Avis they're really waiting for? He said, for their Friar Jungaf and Gaz, he's waiting for the fry guy on the street, or is he waiting for you? He said, he's waiting for you. That's an akudah. He was waiting for us. So, Chabad Tsfat b'simcha b'panimius means, like the Rebbe just said, but the simcha that we know, to Baruch Hashem, we have a Rebbe, we're on the right curve. But if we can find manucha, well, that manucha should only give us more power to produce. The fact that we're in a state of manucha means we're got to kill. And that's what the Rebbe says at the beginning. But with this parashat, why is the midbar not a good place? Because it doesn't give, it's not mashpia. The whole inyan for Kedusha is hashpah. The whole inyan, you belong to Kedusha, you've got to give. You've got to give to, even to your own nefesh habam, your own friend, your own family, whoever. But you've got to be a giver. If you're not giving, and anything that's given to you, just suck it in. Fajiach, you're a desert.
Oh.
You're a desert.
Oh.
And a desert leads to clippers, snakes. Ich weiß mit was, leads to clippers. That's a desert. So the Abish will put a mishkan in the desert.
Then you can
And that is in order to be mevatel the whole desert. And to bring even the Guru Shlem. That's it against the Nakuda, and that's all in. I'm sorry, I can't anymore.
חיים, ממשיך שבס. שבס.
That's a Nakuda of the program.